Hello, my name is Sally Gimmon, and I'm the owner of thetrustisyou.com and a podcast called Stop Paying Capital Gains Now. I want to teach as many U.S. business people and also 1099 incomers and also investors. So few people know about the Spendthrift Trust, I want to give you a little bit of history. This is contract law that comes from England way back when King Henry VIII, the famous king who chopped off his wives' heads, started the Church of England. Murder a few ladies, start a church. Go figure. So he could divorce his wives. He went to go tax the lords and ladies of England. They went back to the Magna Carta, even further back in history, and it's contract law. It came to the colonies while we were still part of England, and the law firm I work on behalf of inherited a trust that turns 350 years old in 2023. This has been around for so long. Now, few people realize that the current tax code started in February of 1913. The Barron families, the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, the Carnegies, and the Kennedys put this into tax code 643B, like Bravo. The Spendthrift Trust is legal, copywritten, in the IRS Tax Code 643B. Now, very few people have ever heard of this. The rich know about it, but average Americans do not know about this. 97% of all trusts sold every single year are what my mom and dad had and what Susie Orman talks about on PBS television. The family trust avoids going through probate and then it dissolves. This is not your mom and dad's trust. This trust is going to save you in 4 very important ways. Number 1, federal taxes year after year, generation after generation. Number 2, it's going to keep your information 100% private. There's a false rumor out there, your LLC or S Corp does this. Oh, no. I can write a Freedom of Information letter with a stamped envelope to either the Secretary of State or the Corporation Commission, and they will send me all the information on that LLC. Number 3, I can't stop you from being sued, but you will pay no judgments if you are sued. All the lawsuits become frivolous and just go away. The old adage from Nelson Rockefeller, own nothing, control everything. It has saved my clients thousands and thousands of dollars in lawsuits. And number 4, if you don't know about the 2024 Corporate Transparency Act that starts January 1st from the Treasury Department, any of the trusts will shield you from having to do that yearly paperwork. Real quick, because I want everybody to know about this, in 2024, this is part of the anti-money laundering decree from 2020. If you're an established LLC, doing business as, or corporation, you have until January 1st of 2025 to do the paperwork. If you start a new LLC, doing business as, or corporation anytime in 2024, you've got 3 months. If you do not do the paperwork, listen up. These are harsh penalties. If you do not do the paperwork, you will be fined $10,000 or 2 years in jail, or both. $10,000 and 2 years in jail. Plus, if you do the paperwork and don't do it correctly, they will fine you $500 per day, including Saturday and Sunday, and that could add up to quite a bit of fines. Again, the Spendthrift Trust will shield you from having to do this paperwork. So again, the trust is legal, it's copywritten, it's in the IRS Tax Code 643B, like Bravo. It's going to save you in 4 very important ways. Listen up. It'll keep your information 100% private. You'll pay no judgments if you get sued. You won't have to do the 2024 Corporate Transparency Act, and you will save federal taxes. Everybody wants to do that. Now, the first trust I want to talk about is the business trust. The business trust is for any U.S. business owner and 1099 income earners. You are going to save federal income taxes with the business trust. I can legally say you're going to save 90%. Most of my clients are between 90 to 95% savings of federal income taxes year after year. In 2022, I saved 92% on my 3 online businesses. I only paid 8%. Beautiful thing. Now, just to give you an idea, here are some clients for some of my clients. A mechanic in New Jersey. He is saving federal income taxes and New Jersey state income taxes. He and his wife run their shop, the mechanic shop. They're going to save over $36,000 a year at 90%. Again, $36,000 a year. A dentist in California. His wife is a school teacher. I can't work with her money. She's a W-2 employee. That can't go through the trust. We're taking the dental practice out of their taxes. He's going to pay for his hygienist and his receptionist from the new EIN number in the bank account. And we're going to lower their federal taxes and state taxes from 32%. We're going to lower it down to 24%. And then he's going to save almost $30,000 a year at 90%. They're having a conversation that the wife will finish out the school year and not go back in September to teach again. She'll stay at home with her 2 young kids. Beautiful thing. I have a Shopify person. The Shopify person does earrings. I don't have my earrings in right now, but she's going to be saving over $17,000 a year. She's young. She's under 30. So for the next 20 years, think how much money she'll be saving. This is with the Business Spendthrift Trust. The Business Spendthrift Trust will save you federal income taxes and state income taxes if you have everything in the trust. Now, there's 5 elements to the trust. All these trusts have these 5 elements. It's irrevocable, it's complex, discretionary, non-grantor, spendthrift trust. All 5 elements are very important to have. Irrevocable goes from generation to generation to generation. The Rockefellers Trust, it's called The Office. It's 7 generations old and has almost 400 people under the same EIN number but separate bank accounts. The way I found out about this is I read a book called What the Rockefellers Do, and I started researching this. If the Rockefellers don't have to pay taxes, why should I have to pay taxes? Irrevocable, complex. This trust can hold money from day to day, week to week, year to year, decade to decade. Again, my mom and dad's family trust dissolved after my father passed away. My mom passed away first, and it dissolved, and we have to divvy up all the money. Irrevocable, complex, discretionary. Whoever is the trustee or trustees can make the rules for all the beneficiaries. Non-grantor. This makes the trust 100% private. When you start a trust, someone who is not a beneficiary will sign up as a settlor, the person who sets up the trust, and will be the trustee for 5 to 10 minutes. After that, they'll sign themselves away. They have to sign their name about 17 times. Now, you will need their social security number. This is not a speed bump. Either myself or somebody else at the law firm will do this for you free of charge. Please don't worry about this. And then the last element, the spendthrift. This has been in front of the United States Supreme Court twice. Both times the Supreme Court has favored with the Spendthrift Trust. It is law, and I have 2 pages of case law to prove to you this is true. Now, if your financial advisor or your CPA says, hey, I've never heard of this before, there are over a million attorneys in the United States as of this time. Only 4% are trust attorneys. A law book, the Trust Attorneys Study in Law School, that does discuss the Spendthrift Trust and all other trusts out there, it's called Scott and Asher on Trusts, 5th edition. Again, it's a law book that there's a Trust Attorneys Study in Law School. So the business trust, 1099 income earners, U.S. business owners. The beneficial trust, this is going to be for any U.S. investor. I don't care what kind of investor you are, you're going to save the following taxes. Capital gains, short-term and long-term capital gains. Short-term capital gains are a year or less. Long-term are more than a year. When you sell anything at a profit. Interest income. This is if you're a passive investor, if you are doing the BRRRR strategy, you're doing seller financing, subject to, creative financing, or notes. I have 12 notes. I'm the paper on the house. They pay me their mortgage. That's interest income. I get to save that. Dividend income. If you're in the stock market, you have dividend stocks, you're a day trader, binary trader, options traders, you're going to save dividend income. By the way, options traders, you get taxed 40% on profits for a year or less, or 60 for a year or more. You need the Spendthrift Trust. Start saving all that money. Rental income. If you've got short-term rental like Airbnb, vacation rentals, or if you have long-term rental, 5 doors, 20 doors, 30 doors, multifamily, commercial, or anything else. Yes, you can do cost segregation and you can do a depreciation. But remember, you're going to keep your information private. Nobody's going to know how many properties you have, and you'll pay no judgments. So if the renter's dog gets out and bites the mailman, or someone trips and breaks their ankle, you don't have to worry about losing any of your properties. And then finally, royalties. Royalties are taxed a little bit less. Everything's taxed between 10% to 37%, depending on your tax bracket. Royalties are taxed between 10% to 35%. Royalties, if you're an author, an actor, a songwriter, a playwright, if you have mineral rights, if you are in the NFT world, and intellectual property, the trust is copywritten. I get paid in royalties, so I don't have to pay the taxes on that. Beautiful thing. Now, the other one that is a little bit different, long-term capital gains, more than a year, will either be 15% or 20% on your profits. So if you sell a business, just to give you an idea, you sell a business and make $3 million. At 15%, you'll pay $460,000. At 20%, you'll pay $600,000. That's six figures you can save with the Spendthrift Trust. Now, real quick, we've got three other trusts. We got a senior trust for someone who's over 65 and on Medicare. Then there's going to be the nonprofit trust if people want that. And then also a real estate syndication trust. All these trusts file a 1041 tax return. When you become a client of the law firm, we're going to introduce you to a CPA who will file your first year's the 1041 taxes for you. After that, you're going to decide you can either continue to use that CPA, or the CPA will teach your CPA in your hometown how to file things correctly. I shut down 6 LLCs when I started my trust. I no longer do K1s on March 15th. My taxes are cheaper now because everything's done with the business trust and the beneficial trust. Again, in 3 years, I started my trust in September 2020. In 3 years, I've got 3 online businesses. I have a crypto bot. My friend does my options tradings for me. I have wholesale 29 houses. I have 12 notes, and I have 4 rentals. In 3 years, I have saved 6 figures in federal taxes. I'm not trying to crow. I'm just telling you, you can do this. Now, my personal history, so you know where I come from. My mom got sick in October of 2018. My parents were living in Goodyear, Arizona. My oldest nephew got married in Charlotte. My mom and dad drove from Goodyear along I-10 to get to Charlotte. My mom got dehydrated. She got septic of the blood. She was on a ventilator for 13 months, in a hospital for 15 months. I was working in Phoenix as a Medicare broker, worst job in the world. I had to work until 8 o'clock that night, drove myself to the airport, flew out for the wedding on Saturday, and everything else. When I was doing the mail for my parents, my mom's first month in the hospital on a ventilator, it was $172,000. Standing in my parents' kitchen, I called my friend Glenn, who had invited me to a real estate meeting, and I said, I need to change my life today. Best decision I did ever. In 2019, still working full-time as a Medicare broker, I wholesaled 7 properties nationwide. Yay, Sally, I paid off all my debt. Well, on April 4th of 2020, I found out I owed the federal government over $75,000 in short-term capital gains. Hence the title of my podcast, Stop Paying Capital Gains Now, with an exclamation mark. I was in shock. My CPA was going to put me on a payment plan where I'm going to have to pay them off. Literally when he told me this, his office was in Scottsdale, Arizona. I went down to the parking garage and just cried. I mean, my heart gave out. Went home, frustrated, everything else. My great aunt Kitty always said, sleep on it. Next morning, wake up at 5 a.m. and I got to find that book. Garrett Gunderson is an instructor in my real estate group, and he wrote a book called What the Rockefellers Do. He had to change the title. It's now called What the Billionaires Do, and I had a copy of that. I started going through that book, researching every name he had, Googling it to find the law firm that has the copyright on this trust. The Benson Financial Trust is 72 years old. Paul Benson was a Harvard law professor. He studied this. He wrote the Benson Financial Trust. He started the law firm with his best friend. They left the law firm to a son each, and now a grandson has it. So the law firm has changed its name since then. But in 72 years, not a single trust has ever been audited. You will get a certification saying if the IRS questions what you have, the law firm will defend you free of charge. 7 years ago, one of the trusts had to be investigated by a senior IRS agent. He went to the law firm outside Houston, spent 3 hours looking over the paperwork, and then he signed off on this. 72 years of history, not a single trust has ever been audited. These trusts are saving my clients thousands and thousands of dollars every year. I invite you to set up a free 30-minute tax breakthrough session with me. We're going to go out to NerdWallet to look at what your taxes are. I'm going to show you the formula. I'm going to show you what your base taxes are on your gross amount. Then I'm going to take 90% to say this is how much you could be saving. If you want more information, you can always set an appointment with me, www.thetrustisyou.com/scheduling. If you go out to my website, www.thetrustisyou.com, there's a free video you will download. You can watch it on your phone. You can watch it on your computer. My goal is to help as many U.S. business owners, 1099 income earners, and investors save taxes just like I do, the Rockefellers do, and U.S. presidents do. This is legal, it's copywritten, and I want you to save as much money as possible. Thank you for coming and watching this. I'm sorry I don't bring anybody on live. I'm going back to a Christmas party. Bye-bye. Have a great weekend. Coming and watching this. I'm sorry I don't bring anybody on live. I'm going back to a Christmas party. Bye-bye. Have a great weekend.